before starting, I wish to address my profound gratitude to the German government and also the sponsors of this event, of the dialogue. Is very important and critical, and to involving the billion bottom of the pyramid that I'm representing here. And together, we're going to win that race of lasting development for a win-win green growth. It's possible. It's a pleasure for me to be here this morning, and I congratulate you as well to be here in the room. My work, I started with my own environment, because I find out that without energy there is no growth, and you even cannot make your homework. I faced it myself, because I went barefoot to school and learned make my homework with a kerosene lamp. Then all of those things talk to me. My lungs are weak because of that. But nevertheless, I'm not complaining. I'm not here to complain. We're here for business. And from that challenge, I turned it into opportunity. I'm an engineer myself, an electromechanical engineer. And I designed my own solar lantern as a starting point. And I find out that the climate is tough. Then the cable doesn't resist. What I have done is to work on it for 2 years, and we set a standard, what's called quality sun. Because what the product that exists at the moment can stand high cold, but not high heat. So it's important as well as Africans to come up with our own standards and to bring it on the table to set it. Africa have assets. Our youth is not a problem, it's our big asset, because they're our children. That's how we grow economic growth. When we talk about GDP, how do we measure it? It's about the number of the people that you have in the country. Those are the forces, the drivers of economy. Our informal sector, be aware that they're informal by default, because the infrastructure is not there. But nevertheless, they're contributing up to 90% of the GDP of the country. But when it comes to development and funds for business, they're not taking into account. So then I create the Global Expertise Hub for the informal sector, where I bring a toolkit to support them to manage on a daily basis their businesses. Because we don't want to complain, but to bring solutions. And now we are in the era of digitalization. So to go into the value chain of the production and also bring them and the share value of global market, we needed to define how the benefits are shared. And I took the value chain of the shea butter, and I created the YAM token. YAM means smart in my mother tongue, the Moray. And I find out that our women was working for less than a cent per hour. And when you know the hard work that you need to do to have a kilo of shea butter, you can imagine. Then I bring those evidence science-based to the big players, which is Unilever, Paul Pullman, who really appreciate that. And many of you know that is really also one of the captain of industries of championing for sustainable development goals. Because it's our duty, part of my duty, to assess real data and bring it to the decisioners. If you don't take it into account, you can't come and after say that I didn't do part of my homework. I did it. Data also is an asset. We are aware as Africans that data is our asset. What are we going to do with the assets that are collected down? We use that to measure, to create economic growth, to be able to trade, because it's about trade. We want to trade, collect taxes, build our roads, invest in research development. And many of you know that in Africa, we have a lot of creatives, young people who are creating a lot of apps. And most of the one who's known is M-Pesa as the African creation, the mobile banking. It's our solution. But many of Africans even don't know that it's an African solution. But the telco companies, they do know, and they're making a lot of profit in Africa. At the moment, the mobile banking sector making a lot of benefit. Nothing wrong. Profit is not a dirty word, and I'm the first saying that. The issue is, how are we sharing that benefit? We can grow green, make profit, and that brings me to the carbon pricing, where it will be follow the keynote speaking. At the Africa Climate Week in Accra, I have been one of the 3 rapporteurs for our continent. And we just established the Africa Carbon Credit Tax Leadership Coalition, because we know that carbon credit and combined with data is an underlying asset and guarantee that we can make available to guarantee our own economy. Because maybe now the carbon pricing is something around 20 per ton, but we don't want to give away our total asset of carbon credits, because maybe in 50 years, 1 ton maybe will be 2,000 or 20,000. But we can take part of that carbon credit to guarantee our economic growth. So I won't take much more. Moderator, my sister, she's doing also a great job. Dr. Davis, you know, I just want to come up here with me, my sister. You know, often we had to put our, how I will bring it in French. On s'assoit sur notre orgueil pour avancer. How often that when Africans we show professionalism, we are tagged arrogant. We're not arrogant. We just want to work together with you. She's a doctor, she's a scientist. What we want is just to work with you. This is the new face of Africa. She left the US, I left the EU to go on the grassroots, work with my brothers and sisters. Because my mother, she didn't know how to write and read, but she was clever at saying, you need to go to school and learn other languages to be able to communicate. Communication is important. The media, I invite you to show the other face of Africa. This is very important. That's how we will bring together. And I will end with our African quote that everybody knows. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, we go together. I invite you to come in our West Africa Solar Park project, hosted by ECRE, which is the ECOWAS Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. This is about trillions of business, and you are most welcome to do business and to share. It's about growing the pie. I thank you so much. Vielen Dank.